In today's conversation, y'all, we're going to be talking about our move and our experiences moving from Canada to the U.S. And we'll talk about that specific, but also I think it's going to be interesting how people respond to it, like anyone who moved to the U.S. from anywhere in the world. Obviously Canada and U.S., they're like brother or sister countries, whatever you want to call it.
Kind of.
I mean, side by side, both
Yeah.
North America, both like in the Western world, obviously.
Right.
So there's like, so there's that perspective that it's not necessarily like a huge change where it's like the culture is totally different. You know what I mean? But
I mean,
that
it
being said,
is
it
at the
was,
same time, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that being said, it was and is a big change.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. So we moved
Yeah.
to the U.S. what, 3 years ago?
It's coming on 3 years this year.
It's coming on 3 years. So I'm pretty sure we told y'all in the recent or the previous videos. So we won't get too deep into it. But we moved from Toronto, and now we live in Florida. And I think,
Thank God.
whew,
Yeah.
oh man. So like, obviously we want to be raw. At the same time, I don't want to
Let's
sound
be
like
raw.
I don't want to sound like we're
back?
bashing Canada at
We're
any
not,
point. Like,
we're not going to bash Canada, but there are, like you
Man.
said, it's brother sister countries, but
totally different.
it's totally different. There's things that obviously we love about where we're from, but there's also some things that we're glad we don't have to deal with anymore.
Right. It's like similarities, like I was getting into, how we're both have the Western culture, whatever you want to call it, but it's two different worlds, two totally different worlds.
Super, super different.
And I'll say that first and foremost, we're totally both very proud to be Canadian, be from Canada. We're not gonna sit here and be like, oh, we had it super rough in Canada, like nothing like that. But if we're getting into like why we moved before, like what the experience was, our reason why, it was like multifaceted. Like I think we kind of hit our ceiling in Canada.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons why. And I feel like we felt that way for a long time,
Yeah.
especially like the industry that we're in. And being from Canada, there's definitely a ceiling. Like there was, like for example, since we're already on this topic, there were a lot of missed opportunities that happened to us, like solely based on the fact that we're from Canada.
As entertainers, like you're talking about like when certain brands couldn't work with us because we weren't in the US. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. And they would watch our content and just assume we're in the US.
Yeah.
But then once they find, oh, you're in Canada, this deal is not actually applicable to your country or whatever. So yeah, that was true. Okay, I think like the very basic fundamental reason though, the weather sucks. Like, oh my God, the weather sucks. Like, bruh.
Oh my gosh.
So Canada's obviously a big country. You do have different weather, on the West Coast and the East Coast.
But the weather is really just the same.
It's just not it. Like
for the whole country, it's
Right.
pretty much the same.
So it's the same in the sense that it sucks in the whole country. Like Canada does not have one. So in the U.S. it's states, in Canada it's provinces. Canada does not have one province where it has pretty good weather year round.
No.
It's either like it's raining all year, or it doesn't get any summer, or you have extreme cold on the East Coast. Like the weather just sucks. Like looking back to like the settlers back in the day, like sometimes I like just think, and I even asked my parents a few times, like why Canada? Like why?
I swear, like
Bruh.
my parents too. Like my parents are from the islands, and we have cousins that live in the States.
Yeah.
Well, like okay, for instance, when you're from Canada, we call the U.S. the States. Like that's
Yeah.
what it is. Like
Yeah.
stateside, states. Anyways, so I ask my family all the time. I'm like, we have cousins that live here and there in the United States. Like, how come we never? Why did you guys choose Canada? Like, why? Why did you choose Canada?
Yeah.
I asked my mom. I asked my dad. I asked my aunt. I asked my grandma. I'm like, why did you guys choose Canada? But you
Facts.
know what? I can understand some of the reasons why, because Canada does have a really good immigration hub. They're very supportive. They take in a lot of immigrants, and they actually help them a lot.
Free healthcare.
Free healthcare, coming from different countries where it may not be the situation, that's definitely a plus.
Yeah.
The weather is really just one of the negatives. I mean, there's a few other negatives, but Overall, I mean, for us, we started to get to the point where we were having seasonal depression.
And seasonal depression is
It's
like
a real
thing.
thing.
If you never heard of it, look it up. Pretty much like if you're having too many months in a row where like you're barely seeing the sun, it's cold, you don't want to be outside, it really can get to your head and like cause some serious. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the word depression that much, but like that's just for lack of a better word. It just messed with our happiness.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it messed with our happiness, and we were at a point where like we always had to be on a trip. And obviously, no, like seriously, and
It
obviously,
sounds crazy because like once we were well traveled,
yeah,
it got to the point where we almost enjoyed our travel life more than our home life.
we did. We weren't. So picture this, because I remember this like it was yesterday. When we were on a trip, the moment we got back to Toronto,
I
we were not happy until our next trip was booked. And we would be booking it as quickly and as soon approaching as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were in a position where like we didn't really have financial constraints at that point. Like we had been doing really good in our career. We had, good cash flow, so we were able to do that. The years before that, when we had no money together, oh my God, it got bad.
It was
like we
bad.
just, and it's not like we weren't happy or proud. Like I said, we're proud to be Canadian. Like there's a lot of great things about the country, but we just weren't happy living there.
Yeah, because I feel like
That's
once
really
you
it.
get to a certain point in life, and I'm just speaking, I can only say this from our perspective, but I feel like we achieve so much so young, and then being where we're from, we're limited to only a small number of things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you live in the United States, there's so many different things you can do in the country.
Right.
You can fly somewhere cold. You can fly somewhere hot. You can go to Hawaii. You can do all these things, whereas we just didn't have that flexibility. And then two, our careers are based off of content. So how many winters do you want to see us sliding down the snow hills every
we have to
winter?
stay in the house.
Go to Canada's Wonderland every summer. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was just the fact of how quickly we were evolving and how much our careers needed a change of scenery every once in a while. And after doing it for when did we move? We moved 5 years
In the
into our
5-year mark,
career.
yeah, 5
After
years
doing
in.
it for 5 years, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys you got another home vlog?
It was in the winter. It was a home vlog or a mall vlog, and we're like, we cannot shoot another video in the mall at home.
It was discouraging at some
man,
point
it
because it was
was.
like, okay, well, we really we kind of hit like a creative block because we've done all that we can do content wise in 5 years.
Right.
Unless something special was coming to the city, that's kind of where it was like, okay, yep, we're definitely going. Let's capture that for content. Otherwise, we would make something out of nothing. We started doing magic videos and pretend, and
We had to
we
create,
started
like-
playing pretend.
I mean, we're in our bag. We're using our imagination,
Yeah, we were
getting
really in our
creative,
bag, yeah.
making sci-fi videos. But okay, so the weather was definitely the first and foremost, like we just talked about. But you mentioned a big thing. You're like, we're limited in Canada, right? Not just the weather. Put it like this: individual states have bigger population than the entire country of Canada.
That's another
California has more people than Canada. I'm pretty sure Florida has more people, or it's like neck and neck. They're either the same, or Florida has a little bit more. So now we're in Florida. Our state alone has the same population as our whole previous country. So naturally, the opportunities are just way more fruitful.
Yeah.
And we've experienced that, like business-wise. I would say everything is at least minimum 10x.
Yeah, it is.
Since we came out here, and that's a combination of things. It's more population, more opportunity. Also,
Yeah.
we're more inspired. We're outside, we're in the sun. Okay, also, I'll say this. We love Florida. Like, we're so happy here. Like, forget politics,
happy.
forget storms, forget, like, whatever people want to say on the negative side. We're not going to get into, like, all of that.
We're not
It's
gonna
more
get into
so
the politics,
right?
yeah.
It's our happiness.
Yeah.
We're so happy here, and I think that's another reason our business is booming here. When you're happy, I mean, it shows.
Yeah, although I will say, when we did get our deposits, when we were living in Canada, we would get that like 1.3 conversion.
Yeah, 30% on the dollar.
It was so nice.
Bruh.
But I mean, it all levels out when it comes to the cost of living and stuff like that. But man,
Hold on, we gotta expand that, because I don't know if y'all got what Keith just said.
Yeah. So basically, okay, so Canada and US definitely have two different dollars and whatnot.
Yeah.
So when we were getting paid in Canada from YouTube, we would get paid in US dollars. So we would see however much we made for the month, and then when they would deposit it, they have to convert it into Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So we would see, okay, let's say we would see $100,000, that would be our deposit. But when it touches our account in Canada, we had an extra
30, an extra 30%.
So we're like, let's see what the conversion rate is when this deposit hits.
Yeah.
We were feeling so nice.
Oh man, it was just a boost, and it really it was a big deal. 30% is obviously a big deal.
Yeah.
But when we moved out here, now it's just U.S. currency. And the reason that was, I don't know if you said this, I don't know, it's because we always got paid in U.S. dollar, even when we were in Canada.
Yes.
So yeah, now that we're in the U.S., we don't have that 30%, but just the fact that business is up so much, we've even been like inspired to start a bunch of new businesses. And these are all things that, I don't know, maybe if we stayed in Canada, we'd still have been on the same path, but I feel like moving to Florida accelerated things exponentially. And it's actually kind of funny. Everywhere we go, I'm like a walking catalog for like why you should move to Florida. I'm like, I'm literally like, I should be like a spokesperson for Florida tourism, even though the tourists get a little bit annoying, like when we can't get into the beach or like it's, everyone's getting super rowdy, whatever, but it is what it is. It's Miami. Like, it's part of it. But yeah, I'm like a walking catalog. Huh?
I was saying, you love it.
I love it. I love it so much, y'all.
Yeah.
So like, we're so grateful to be here. Sometimes I still pinch myself. I'm like, babe, they let us in. Like, we live here.
It's also because we didn't we
live here.
Listen, we just up and left.
We should talk about that. That's a whole topic
We
in
really
itself.
just up and left. So, okay, yeah, let's talk about it because
Let's talk about
we
it.
kind of talked about when we came, but we never really got into the details or like what we did, like how we did it. And
Also, I don't want to like incriminate ourselves. I don't know if that's the right word.
No. There's nothing criminal.
No, it's
about
nothing
it.
illegal. It's
There's
nothing
nothing
illegal.
criminal about it.
I don't want to like jeopardize.
No, we're good.
We're good, right?
I got
We're
you.
good. We're good.
so
I got you. What are you talking about?
I got you though.
Yeah. Nah, okay. I'm kind of playing. I'm being playful, y'all.
Yeah.
It was just the circumstances, how it happened. We didn't really know what we were doing. Therefore, there was no ill intent because you're not really supposed to like just move to a country just like that. Like obviously, there's a process.
Yeah.
But we didn't originally plan to never leave.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan.
We came in. We were gonna do 6 months Canada, 6 months Florida, which you're totally allowed to do.
Hey, I was gonna get into the
Oh,
story.
sorry. All right. I got excited. I get excited on this topic.
Super excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to go back to September 2020 because that's when we first kind of realized that we weren't stuck.
September 2020, we took a
September
trip
2020
to Cabo, Mexico
for my birthday.
for your birthday during the
for
pandemic.
2 weeks.
During when everyone was on lockdown and we were like, well, not everyone was on lockdown, but no one was going anywhere. So we thought.
Yeah, and then you started doing your research because you're so good at that and planning trips. I got to give that to you. Whenever we go on trips, you might as well leave it to him because the last time I planned a trip, we almost missed our flight home. Anyway, that's another story. So he planned this trip to Cabo for my birthday, set it all up and everything. We get there, nobody is on lockdown and nothing. And Canada was one of the most strict countries when it came to the lockdown for the pandemic.
I want to say one thing on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want you to lose your train of thought,
No,
but I
I'm
have to
good.
say one thing.
Yeah.
We said we're not going to get into politics, and we're not because, it's just not our thing, right? We're not really into those topics. However, I have to say, Canada, from our opinion, handled the pandemic terribly. Terribly. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree with us, especially the Canadian folk. People from the outside looking in might not know or might not be able to I don't know, comment or grasp what happened. But living in Canada during the pandemic, we felt like we had zero freedom. Anyways.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
That kind of added fuel to our fire to like.
Yeah, so that was let me tell the whole. Let me spill it quick. Okay, so went to Cabo for my birthday. Nothing was locked down. Everyone was doing their thing. Everyone was at the beach, just doing whatever. So we get back from Cabo and we start talking about, hey, maybe we should go to Florida for the winter. And it was already a thought in our minds, 2 years before that? So before we even bought our home in Canada, we were thinking about moving to Florida back then. And then
what year was that? Like 2017?
that was 20 when I was pregnant with before we got married.
2016.
I think so.
So we had been planning to move to Florida for a long time.
Yeah, and then we ended up renovating our home in 2019. We came to Florida, coincidentally, a few blocks from here. We stayed in Florida for a few months while our house was being renovated.
Yeah, we had an Airbnb 10 minutes from our current house, coincidentally.
Yeah, so we already had talks and we were like, you know what? It would be so sick if we go back to Florida for the winter and then like really test it out and see how we feel. Like we could spend a few months there.
And we were kind of trying to escape the pandemic.
It was a double whammy.
Everyone was like, yo, Florida's open.
Yeah.
So, we're like,
yeah, he found that out. His research said that Canada was not the place to be and Florida was open. So we were like, you know what? We liked it when we were there during the renovation of our home. So why don't we go over there and see? Let's see what's really happening in Florida. You know what I mean? So long story short, we came to Florida on our son's birthday, 2020. And sure enough, it was wide open. And we were just like, this feels so weird. Like, I can't believe everything is just... Like, if you guys seen how Canada looked, it was really like a ghost town.
Yeah.
It was really ghost town vibes.
It was strange, y'all. It was really weird. And I feel like, it's good to talk about, but I feel like a lot of people looking back realize, like, we went through some crazy stuff. Was it even necessary? That's a whole nother topic in itself. But Canada was just super strict. Like, everyone was literally thinking the world was about to end. We're not allowed to leave our homes. If you have any type of voice, you might go to jail. Like, it's
the
crazy.
way they were censoring people was crazy.
Yeah.
So the plan was 6 months, and not we all, because me and you really make the final decision, and we were just like, yeah, we're not going back. Let's figure out what we got to do. Let's start the process to get our visas and whatever. Let's just see what we can do. And if it happens by the time our 6 months is over, then we'll stay. If it doesn't work out, then we'll go back home.
Exactly.
So we were fine. Like, we weren't fine with the decision. We were just hoping that the decision that we wanted to make was going to work in our favor, given the time and all the process and the paperwork that we had to do. And thank God it worked out. So we here, baby.
Yo, so like going back to when we touched down in Florida, when we first got here, when we landed, I remember looking at you and like, again, we weren't planning to, we thought we were going to be 6 months. But I remember looking at you, we got into the car after we got off the plane. We had our car taking us to the Airbnb and I looked at you, I'm like, we did it.
They let us in.
They let us in. And it really felt like we had just escaped something in a movie, literally also because of the pandemic, like we're telling y'all. And the next day, Canada went on full lockdown.
Again, they went on another lockdown.
So we're like, I was looking at you and I'm like, I remember this like it was yesterday. It gives me goosebumps. I was like, babe, like we did it. We made it. And then, sure enough, like you just said, a few months in, I think it took me personally like 2 months. After 2 months, I was like, I never want to leave this place. I loved it right off the bat, but I missed like my house, my friends, my comfort of my gym in the house. Like there was all these little things I was missing, but I wasn't missing living in Canada, living in Toronto. I was missing things.
Yeah.
I was missing like my comfort things. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I missed like our theater room. I miss like just, linking up with my friends and stuff. Yeah. But after 2 months, I was like, okay, the benefits of living here outweigh anything. Like our people can come see us. We can visit with our people. But we really found our happiness. And that's a rare thing.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I mean, it's rare.
I do feel like the personal touches and things, again, it's things, but I feel like the personal touches and the way we designed our home and like we literally almost gutted that entire house.
We spent what, a year, over $1 million on the rental, over a year.
Yeah.
That was our forever house. So we were super invested into it.
Yeah.
That's why we always like talk about it. Like that was our forever house. And the finished product, oh my God, this house was, so there was sacrifice.
Yeah.
We now have a super beautiful house here in Miami. Like, it's not like, boohoo, we did our thing out here.
We did our thing, but it was definitely a little bit of a downgrade. Like the square footage on this home is smaller than the home we had in Canada.
For now.
We
got plans, y'all. We got plans.
Yeah, but I mean, Hey, it is what it is, man.
It is what it is. I want to say something too, babe, because I feel like us doing this, we weren't sure at first. I think you were ready, but you were nervous because you had never moved like a big move like that.
I've never lived
Where
anywhere
we're moving
else.
the kids. Like it was a big deal. And obviously, you know, switching countries, there's so much things that you can't expect. You just have to go through it. And we definitely went through it. It wasn't all easy. We're not even talking about the issues we had from so many issues. It's a big deal. But anyways, what I wanted to say is that I think it's a testament that sometimes when you have that gut feeling that you just need to do something, even though it's going to be difficult, even though like you don't really know where you're going to land, just take that leap of faith. And looking back, can you imagine us not having moved? Because I can't even fathom that no more. That's how much this move needed to happen.
But remember,
and if we didn't just take that leap, we might have never found our happiness. And I think that's important in life, period. You got to take that leap of faith sometimes. And it might not always work out.
Yeah.
But you got to try it.
Yeah, and I also feel like because you've moved around quite a bit when you were younger.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were always ready to make your next move. You're always just like, okay, whatever we do, all right, I'm down. Like, let's do it. Where are we going? What we doing? You know, with me, it was like, okay, but like, you know, I'm not going to have any family in the city and this and that. Like, I was really that type of person where it was like, okay, am I ready? I've always thought about it, and I've always like told you, I'm like, I would love to live somewhere else in my lifetime. Like, I don't want to live in one place my whole life. I definitely want to see how I would adapt, like moving somewhere else and almost starting from scratch, not having no family, hardly any friends, you know, like literally just the family, you know what I mean? So but the fact that I survived the test shows you I can live anywhere.
Anywhere? I don't know about that. You want to move to Alaska? You want to move to
almost anywhere, correct?
You want to move to where my background, Czech Republic?
What is it like? You got to show me what it's
cold.
about.
We're complaining about Canadian weather. I'm pretty sure it gets super. I've never been, but I'm pretty sure it gets super, super cold over there.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about like the move itself. I think we should get into though some of the differences outside of like us just like, you know, finding happiness and all that good stuff. But like it's also, like we said, it's two different worlds. Let's get into like some of our experiences of how Canada and I can't even say US because Florida's like its own world too. Like, and also, let me say this too. Toronto, you can't even group Toronto and just be like, oh, that's Canada. I mean, it is, but the culture in Toronto is very different than the rest of Canada. The culture in Florida is very different than the rest of the U.S.
Yeah, so but Florida is a state. Toronto is a city.
Yeah.
Or a greater area.
But I feel like the culture in the state of Florida. Okay, no, we got to say Miami then. Toronto, Miami.
You have to say Broward.
South Florida. Let's say because we live in Broward, but we're always in Miami.
South Florida.
I want to say something. Okay, I got one to start with. There's this cliche, y'all, and let me know in the comments. I'm sure you've heard this. There's a cliche, there's a stereotype that Canadians are the friendliest people in the world, okay? I'm not saying we're terrible people. No, we're nice people. There is some truth to it. But where we're from in Toronto, people are not that nice. People are actually quite busy, angry, frustrated, easy to get upset. There's a lot of road rage. There's just a lot of tension.
It's like the Canadian New York.
New York. It has that New York energy.
Yeah.
So it was such a amazing and also eye-opening experience to move to Florida, where you kind of hear the rest of the world. To be honest, I feel like a lot of people down-talk Florida. It's like, the butt of a lot of jokes. People talk about, a Florida man did this, a Florida man did that. And it's all these, people kind of downplaying Florida. When we got here, it's the opposite. We're like, people are so nice.
Yeah.
People are way nicer here than Toronto.
Honestly,
at least from my experience.
Yeah. When we first moved here, we moved to Boca Raton, and people were very nice. Like, we would just be walking. I'd just be walking. At that time, Kira was 2 years old, our youngest. People would say, "Oh, hi, hello, she's so cute," and just start talking to her out of nowhere. And that usually doesn't happen. People will say hi, bye as they're walking, but like they would literally stop.
Yeah.
Talk to you. Where do you live? Where are you from? Like, I swear I met 10 people in that neighborhood in the first week we moved there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I live around the corner, first house on the left. If you ever see us playing music or barbecuing, just come on around. I was like, oh, okay.
We weren't used to it.
Say less. But I was also like, I have a hard time trusting people. So my trust was like, kind of friendly, but like, a little too friendly. Yeah, a little too friendly. Like, I don't know if we should be friends right off the bat, or
Yeah.
so.
You know
but
me,
it was nice to see.
I'm super slow to trust people. You had to like pull me into our neighbors' houses to be like meeting them. I was like, babe, do I have to? You're like, yes, you're coming.
Neighbor-wise, but friend-wise, you'll meet someone today, and by Friday they're your bro.
True. Yeah, I make friends pretty quick. You're right.
You make friends way too quick for me.
Wow.
Way too quick.
How?
It's just too fast.
Yo, I feel like that's a whole nother podcast episode. I feel, we could talk about, we
You
can
make
talk for an
friends
hour
so
about
fast,
that.
it's scary. Like the way you
Yeah.
be meeting people and you're like, yeah, I remember homie where I was with last Saturday. My other homie introduced me to him. Well, yeah, we're going out for lunch tomorrow. And I'm like, what? Like,
Only, but not for anyone though. I feel like I'm good at reading people, and my biggest thing is like picking up on people's energy. And if we don't have synergy in our energy and there's not good vibes, I won't even. It's not coming to that. But if I can instantly usually tell if it's someone that I want to rock with, the energy is good, then I'm like, all right, like we got similar goals, similar beliefs, whatever. Not even beliefs. We just have good energy. All right. Why not?
I commend
Why not?
you
Life
for
is
that.
short.
I guess I gotta do better. I gotta do better at. I'm not gonna say trusting people, but I gotta do better at maybe letting people in a little bit and seeing if we could be friends. I
Yeah.
don't know. I got trust issues, man.
I feel you, babe. I feel like we got to
That's why I don't
elaborate
have an
on this.
assistant. That's why I still don't have an assistant.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're each other's best friends. But
Yeah.
okay, it's not that I don't want to talk
I need
about this.
female. I have like 2 or 3 female friends. I
Yeah.
need more.
It's not that I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about this right now, but I feel like this is another episode.
It is.
Let us know. Do you want us to expand on this topic? Because I feel like it needs to be a full hour on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe with some guests too to see like how other people feel about
Yeah.
making friends. I guess mainly because, we just moved here. So the friend topic is on moving, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Not really, I have you, but, I need girl time and you need guy time. So it's great you're making friends and going out, meet them on Monday, go out on Friday. It's great.
Yeah.
I think I can learn something from you.
Now, you go out with your friends too. And
Yeah.
you be coming home at like 2, 3 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah,
are
you
we going
tell-
to talk about yours?
You're like, babe, I'm going out for like a
Things
couple hours.
happen.
We're going for lunch. Next thing you know, you're coming home at 3 a.m. I'm like,
But things happen though. Sometimes you're out and then it's like, oh, well, okay, we're going to go over here next. And I'm like, all right, shoot. I'd rather keep on going out than go home to the kids. Mommy, there's
nah,
something
the kids are
in
sleeping
my,
from 11.
Something on
You
my
capping.
toe.
You capping. But anyways, y'all, anyways.
So do you say pasta or pasta?
I've converted to pasta.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No.
Yes, I have.
You just made pasta the other day.
I made pasta. Miles per hour, pasta, Fahrenheit.
A.
Center is CENTER, not RE. What else?
It's not always RE in Canada.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Unless they're not following the language of Canada. That's the version of English they use.
I don't use RE that often.
Exactly.
A instead of.
No, we don't say A no more. You do sometimes.
No, I'm saying, what do Americans say instead of saying
People
A?
say, huh? Mm-hmm. Stuff like, yeah,
Uh?
stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
But like, I don't know. We don't try. We never tried to like change our lingo. It's just like a natural progression.
Y'all
After-
instead of you guys. I
y'all.
still say you
You
guys.
know-
I don't really like to say y'all. I still say,
I say
you
y'all
guys.
a lot, but I said that before we moved.
Yeah.
Yo, Kira is so American.
She's so American. Oh my gosh.
So Kira's our youngest. For those of you that
She's
don't
been
know,
here
she's
since
4.
she was 2.
She talks so American, but like we were talking about this the other day. She's
Kills
4,
me.
right? So naturally,
Half of her life.
half of her life has been here. And in terms of her memory, this is probably all she can remember. Like if you're 4, you don't really remember when you were 2. She probably remembers from like 3 years old on.
Yeah.
So this is all she knows.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first moved here, she didn't really grasp that the name of the city was Miami. when she heard me saying Miami, she was like, like it's mine. So she's like, Daddy's Amy.
Yes.
Like, we live in Daddy's Amy. and then Mommy's Amy was Toronto, and Miami was Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
That was so cute. Like, kids always think of their own little lingo.
Yeah.
And I taught her how to spell her name. So I'm like, Kira, how do you spell your name? She's like, K-I-H. And I'm like, what? I'm like, say it again. K-I-H.
Yeah.
And I'm like, K-I-H. Kirah. She's like, that's what I said. Kirah. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So just from how she spells her name, I'm like, that sounds super American to me because
Facts.
I want to hear the letters Kirah.
Yeah.
Kirah.
K-I-H.
There's a little fly in here.
Uh-oh.
Oops, sorry, I flicked it your way.
Uh-oh, that's all right. Imagine I just
What
breathed
else?
in.
What else?
Okay,
I
I
feel
got
like
one.
products. Let's go to products.
All right, products.
So I guess Americans have Neosporin.
You can say we.
Now it's we.
Yeah.
We have Neosporin, but in Canada.
Wait, who's we now? Wait, we, yeah. Neosporin, yeah. All right, I'm confusing you. Go ahead. Forget I said anything.
Confusing yourself. Yeah.
Okay,
So
U.S. has.
U.S. has Neosporin. Canada has Polysporin.
Right.
You can't find Neosporin in Canada, and you can't find Polysporin in the U.S.
Right.
What else?
What I asked you for today?
Today we're driving in the car. We're getting stuff from Walgreens on Instacart. He goes, oh yeah, add some Rub A535 in the cart for me. I'm like, oh hell nah, they definitely don't have that. I searched it. I'm like, I knew it. I'm like,
Yeah.
so what's the version of A535 in the States?
Yeah. We
So-
found what? Voltaren.
Voltaren,
Icy Rub.
what's the one?
Bengay.
Bengay. I found Tiger Balm.
Tiger Balm. When we go back to Toronto, we always stock up on ketchup chips, Smarties. How does the U.S. not have
How
Smarties?
do you not have Smarties?
Yo,
Oh
if
my
you told
gosh.
me that Smarties was only a Canadian thing, I would have said you're crazy. This has to be a worldwide treat.
But you know what's crazy though? When we
Smarties, come on.
travel, like the islands have it, like Jamaica has it, DR has it.
Is it
in
just
the
Florida that
airports.
don't have it? Let us
don't
know.
know.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. What else? All dressed chips. They don't have all dressed chips
Yeah,
here.
that's wild too.
What else? Tim Hortons. But
Yeah.
we don't. Oh yeah, we have one location of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons, y'all don't.
All right, so
got.
speaking about food, we talk about this, y'all. So in terms of like quick food, like just you want something to eat on the fly, Toronto has better food. But if you're talking about going out to eat at a restaurant, like you want
Yeah.
to get up and have a date night or take the family out for brunch, South Florida hands down.
Yeah.
Like no comparison.
I can't
So there's
lie.
pros and cons on the food.
I miss all those quick places that we had. Like
The
you
West
had
Indian
Osmos
places.
for Mediterranean
Yeah.
food. We had Mr. Greek. We had Thai Express. We
Yeah.
had all these places, and it was everywhere. Whereas if you're in different parts of Florida, you might not even be able to get. We have halal guys in our area, but it might not be down in Miami or.
Yeah, just the overall selection for quick food is not as good.
Sunrise, the West Indian place, if you want a quick jerk chicken and rice and peas.
Yeah, the
you can
Jamaican
find a
food out here
Sunrise.
is-
Yo.
Toronto got
Someone's
the best
gonna have to
Jamaican
tell us
food,
where
it's
the
up
good
there.
Jamaican food is over here. Cause,
Yeah, we need some advice. We haven't had good Jamaican food.
like
out
Canada
here.
had chains of cultured restaurants. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're here. I know a few Haitian places, but it's not a chain.
Right.
So like you have to know the mom and pop shops and stuff like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So pivot real quick, because I feel like this has to be said. One of the best things about living here, y'all, is that, and don't move to Florida, okay? We don't need it. The housing market's already
This guy
crazy.
said don't move.
Don't move here, y'all. It's already too congested, and there's
Do what y'all
there's too many
want.
people already. So
Don't listen
don't
to
move
him.
here.
He moved here 2 years ago. Talk about don't move here.
Now we got to be like, yo, Florida's full. But nah, so all jokes aside, one of the greatest things about living here, all we have to do when we're just having, whatever, we're having a day where we just want to not work and just have a family experience, or we want to feel like we're getting a getaway. Long story short, all we have to do is drive 15 minutes to go to the beach, where people literally fly from all over the world to vacation. The most beautiful beaches in the world are up there, 15 minutes away. If we want to go hop on a boat, hop on a yacht, 20 minutes away. If we want to go to the Keys, hour away. If we want to go to the islands, it's right there. Like, you don't have to leave South Florida to get that vacation feeling and
He's
to get that.
advocating again.
Huh?
He's
Don't
advocating.
move here, though.
He's advocating again. You guys, you see that?
It's actually not that great. Don't move here, y'all.
Yeah, it's not that good at all.
It's not that good, yeah.
If you want to take your kids to a theme park, that's a few hours away, but
No, we have Tidal Cove.
that's not a theme park. That's a water park. Like
The
rides.
theme
and
is
stuff.
water.
Okay.
Yeah, we got Orlando is 3 hours. No, I'm playing, but you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Orlando's right there. We can literally stay in Florida or Central Florida. We don't have to go nowhere. And we don't feel the need to escape anymore. In Toronto, we always felt the need to escape. Right?
It's very true.
We were escapists. Now we're happy.
Escapists. Is that even a word?
Now we're happy.
We were escapists. We were professional escapers. And now we are happily living in Florida.
Yeah. Now we're happy, y'all. So
Yep.
the moral of this podcast episode is do what makes you happy and also take chances.
Listen,
If you're not happy, take chances to find your happiness.
I ain't even gonna lie. I don't think we really felt the effects of our move until this year.
How do you mean?
Because, like, obviously, you know, we're happy and, you know, we made the transition. We've been here. We're adjusted to our life. But the actual, like, I guess all the background stuff, the paperwork, the departure, and all these things.
The complications.
The complications of moving and shutting down our corporation that we had in Canada.
Complications kicked our ass this year.
Kicked us.
And it's not that we weren't doing our due diligence. It's
We
just a
didn't
very
know
complicated process.
How
And
complex,
then
yeah.
it takes time to facilitate that process. And when it gets caught up to you, you're like, dang, like we knew we had to deal with these things. And then but it all hits you at once.
Hits you? Whew.
Moving is expensive.
It's
oh
expensive.
my God. It's not even just, I got to get a new house or I got to buy new furniture. No. I think, though, for us, it was probably more so because we're moving like businesses that, you know, have a lot of value. So now there's governments involved, there's employees involved.
Also,
There's so many
there's different layers. And on
yeah.
top of that, we also just do things and deal with it later.
Yeah.
Don't even lie to yourself.
Yeah, we do.
That's what we do.
But like
we make decisions
life
and
is
we
short.
we have this thing.
And I'm so glad we do that. We keep it interesting.
We have this thing where
Oh, I
it's
know
an
what you're gonna
inside
say.
joke.
Say it. Yo, can I say it?
No.
You say it.
Yeah, so it's our old accountant, and we would just look at each other whenever we were gonna make like a crazy decision. We look at each other and go, "Sorry, George,"
Sorry, George.
because that's what the email says. It says, "George, just wanted to let you know we did this, this, and that. So just so it's on your radar,
Yeah.
when tax time comes, who's
would-
looking through our front door?
Who's at a front door? Maybe that's a sign because I think we have IVs pulling up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're back, and with your guys' love, we will stay back. So let us know what some of the topics y'all want us to see us elaborate on. But I think we have to do the one you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Friendship and making friends.
And honestly, the love has been great so far. We appreciate all the feedback, especially on, you
Yep.
know, as you guys had time to watch all the episodes. We appreciate the love. The love is definitely reciprocated. We're going to give it right back to you guys. And let us know, once again, in the comments down below, what are some topics you want us to cover. We already have a list, but anything that's on your minds now or stuff that you think you want us to cover, let us know.
Sorry, George.
Sorry, George.
Don't move to Florida. It sucks here. It sucks. All right. We'll see you guys in the
All
next
right.
one.
Bye.